Welcome back, degenerates. It is the Wednesday roundup. We had a big week last week. Not so good on the picking front, at least for most of us.
Yeah,
I myself, we're going to talk about this in a minute, but I'm in the gutter.
I was crushed.
Big gutter. It was as bad. I didn't know I could physically pick this terribly. I didn't think it was possible for me, but it happened. The games were electric, though. We have a lot to recap. We're going to talk about how the Mortal Walks went.
They were electric in the worst way.
We're going to talk about all the action in the NFL injury season, all of a sudden, awful.
Those turf fields are just
and college football was absolutely electric. Some big games happened. So without further ado, let's get into the Wednesday roundup. Last week was the first week in a couple that we had all five of us in the subscriber picks parlay.
Yeah.
A couple of us have been relegated. So we had a 3-person parlay, which hit. Yep. We paid you $350.
Yep.
Then we had a 4-person parlay when Ryan got out of relegation. We didn't hit that. Last week, first time we were all back, all of us in the parlay, and we started hot.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, first leg of the parlay was Tate. Tate had the over in TCU BYU 52.
Yep.
That looked like it was going to hit really early, then it slowed down.
99%.
You hit it early.
They needed 7 points, with 3 minutes left in the third quarter.
But you took care of business.
I took care of business.
Yeah.
You moved to 4-4 on the year, so you started well on the mortals. We can skip over to me. My mortal was the next one in line, along with Mario's. Mine was UNC minus 3.5 against Miami.
That was also looked like a lock the whole game.
Well, it was an absolute domination. They something weird at the end. They only won by 10, but yeah, they crushed Miami. Great game. Drake May, shout out to him. I'm 3-5 on the mortals. Yeah, Tez Walker, 3 touchdowns. He's back. He's so back.
Love it.
Mario's was the next leg to go. Yeah. He absolutely smacked his mortal once again. The Missouri-Kentucky over 52.5. No sweat at all. You're now 6-2.
No sweat.
6-2 on mortals.
Go all in. We're doing good. We're good. You know, I think we covered it by a touchdown halfway through the fourth. So yeah, it was nice to kind of get one just out of the way. Not worry about it.
So we were looking good on mortals.
Yeah.
Then came Ryan's game.
Ooh.
Ryan picked the Texas State UL Monroe over, and it was never live. I think, what was the score at halftime? 6-8? 6-10?
6-9.
Yeah.
It was.
What happened in that one?
I don't know. The 99th ranked versus the 113th ranked defense decided to play. I don't know.
Showed up big time.
No,
they showed up big time.
It was a defensive masterclass. No, and the offenses really couldn't get anything going. No, it was one of those go to the 30, miss a field goal, go to the 30, fumble, and you just know you're dead. You know you're dead.
Yeah.
I just knew I was dead, even though it was at the end.
It was a big number too, wasn't it? 60-something.
63.
63. Yeah, that's a lot of points.
I gotta get back.
Ryan goes to 3-5, but all four of us that we just talked about are in the parlay next week. Someone who is in the parlay this week but is at risk of being relegated now, Mr. Michael Yoon. He had his game of the month.
God.
San Francisco minus 5.5. The line moved to 9.5 at kickoff.
Yeah.
They lost outright.
To PJ Walker.
PJ Walker.
No. Let's get the facts out of the way before we actually get into what's really important.
Tell me the facts. I think we all watched.
Give us the card
facts. The facts are that San Francisco had some very big injuries, including Christian McCaffrey getting hurt in the third. Deebo Samuel got hurt. Another big one.
Trent
Williams, an absolutely massive one.
He came back though.
He did come back, but still he got hurt, missed a couple plays.
Big plays.
A couple big plays.
Big plays.
Regardless. Here's what really matters.
Yeah, what happened?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this was a life lesson for myself, and a life lesson for everyone else watching. Don't be a cheater, okay? So, you know what? Ever since preseason, for the entire season, I've been riding with Tua, been riding with the Dolphins, been saying how electric, how absolutely dominating their offense was. Last week,
he didn't play. He didn't play.
No! Stop it!
Okay,
stop it.
Tua. Right.
Let me talk.
I just want to stay.
Let me talk. I'm angry.
We got a lot.
I'm angry.
We got a lot to cover.
Yep. No, I get it, but you zip it.
All right, talk about Tua.
All right,
Dolphins. Yep, Dolphins.
They are the number one offense in the NFL right now, and I decided to flip flop, go San Francisco, favorite offense in the league for absolutely no reason.
You're not a rider. That's just
I'm a trader. I'm a cheater. Ladies and gentlemen, don't be a cheater, or else, you're just a big fat loser.
Yeah, be a rider.
Yep, be a rider. So Mike, 3-5, lost back-to-back mortals. So the parlay did not hit. If he does not hit his mortal this week, he's now out of the parlay. So this is a big one for Mike. So 3-2 on mortals for the week. Overall, pretty good, but a couple bad picks from these guys. Mike lost outright, which was just disgusting. Our consensus picks, we had 2 of them last week, are now 5-1 on the year.
First loss.
It was our first loss. So
Bears over.
the USC over hit beautifully. Shout out Caleb Williams for throwing all those interceptions.
Oh, yeah.
Love you.
All those short fields for Notre Dame.
83%.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking good for a pick.
I think our first miss being the Bears over missing, it has a little asterisk next to it.
I'm still convinced that Fields played that game.
Justin Fields, he left in the third quarter.
Asterisk. Yeah.
Granted, he was awful the entire game, but I think he would have thrown a couple pick sixes. He could have got us there.
He could have got us
He could have got us
No,
there.
he would have got us there.
He would have got us there, but he went out. That was our first consensus pick to miss. So keep track of our consensus picks on Thursday and Friday because those have been some of our best bets. Quickly to recap last week's cards. We don't need to spend too much time on this, I don't think. I was 4-11 college.
Oh, you say that
That's
a
not
little
good.
louder? I didn't hear
I
it.
couldn't hear you. People across the room couldn't hear you.
I can just run through this. We can go top to bottom. 4-11 and 1 college brings us down to 47%. 1-4 NFL. 58% on the year. We don't need to focus on that. 56,
25.
56 for the week. Yeah, I was about 5 for 20.
Okay.
5 for 20.
That's pretty good.
It was a bad week. I mean, I'm in the gutter. There's no way to get around this. Last week I told you I was back, bet every one of my games.
That would have been, you have been dead.
I feel bad. I feel bad for myself. The bank account hurt, but yeah, we hit the mortal, so that's really what matters now. 56, and 1 on the year, exactly 50%. So I'm at the bottom. You can only go up from here.
Facts.
Ryan, 9-10 and 1 on college, so 52% on the season for college.
good.
1-5 and 1 NFL.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's not normally my
saw that
NFL.
coming.
Ryan and I each hit 1 NFL pick last week.
Yeah, it wasn't
so.
good. Wasn't good
Brutal.
NFL picks.
55% on the
Combined 2
season.
for
55% on the season for NFL moves your total overall 52%, 65 and 59.
Yeah, it's been bad lately. I'm gonna turn October. It's gonna get spooky. I'm gonna turn it back to clock.
Ooh,
I'm
I like it.
Spooky season.
Also-
gonna get going.
Is this a good time to do the little replay of the promise last week?
For my full card, if I am not over 60% on the week,
Oh my God.
I will give $50 to one person who comments on one of the 3 videos this week.
Wait,
The Wednesday
what?
recap,
Whoa.
the Thursday college football, or the Friday NFL. Oh yeah, my $50 promise to go above 60%. I will be paying that out to a lucky subscriber who commented on one of the 3 videos from last week for the college football tomorrow. So you guys will get to pick tomorrow to see who gets $50 for me being the worst gambler ever.
Yeah, tune in to tomorr's podcast if you're a subscriber. If
That
you
was
commented,
free money.
yeah, free money.
glitch.
He's gonna give out $50 tomorrow's episode on Thursday. Tate, not a bad week.
No.
11, 9 and 1 college, 55% on the year.
I'm staying above.
6, 1 and 1 crappy picks of the week. Best pick you give out.
Yeah,
Best
awesome.
Pick.
Best pick you give out.
Auto tail now.
Auto tail. 4 and 6 NFL. Not great. 46% on the season. 48% on the season. And your overall record, identical to Ryan's. 65, 59, and 59 for 52%.
Wow.
How in the world do you guys have the exact same amount of games picked and games won? That's crazy.
That's crazy.
There's some weird thing going on with the stats. All I
It's
know.
that side of the table. I don't know.
The stats guy over here has got some.
No one sees what
we're
they're doing
leading.
under the table, you know?
Is anyone else over
what?
52%?
That's facts.
No, I mean, I was last week. I dropped 6%.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm getting close though. I'm
Mike-
getting close.
Finally over 50% of the season.
Bang! I
Congratulations.
told everyone I'd do it.
When you pick,
I didn't believe you.
when you pick 4 games a
Well,
week,
his NFL,
Hey, my cards are getting larger every week.
his
You shut your mouth.
NFL is insane. Yeah, Mike does have about 30 to 40 games less overall picked than everyone.
But still-
it's not a bad strategy to be honest.
Bang.
4 and 4 and 1 in college, so 42%. Still don't bet any of his college picks or just fade him and make money. NFL though, he's the best. He's the best on the table in NFL.
Best there is.
Best there is. 6 and 2 on the week. 68% overall NFL.
I mean, printing.
That's just printing. Overall
What's up?
record
Good
finally
stuff,
above
Mike.
50%. 44, 42 and 1, 51%.
Yeah, it didn't even matter though because the game of the month bet just absolutely tanked.
Well,
it.
yeah, but let's look at the bright side.
0-1 on Game of the Month.
wait, are we like, how many game of the months have we had?
That was the first one. I had a game
No,
of
I
the
had
year.
game of the month.
All right, it's your 2 game of the months.
year.
I had a game of the year.
God, we need to, we're 1 for 3. We need
Yeah,
to
we're.
I will have at least 1 game of the millennium this year, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I see it in the future.
You
Millennium.
skipped a lot.
But it's,
Skip the decade,
Year, century.
Well,
Decade, century.
when you start going down units, you need to upgrade your big games to like get back the units. Like Millennium's a 10,000 unit play.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It's a mortgage the entire neighborhood play. But that's not this week.
If any of you own a neighborhood, that's going to be the bet.
that's what you gotta
mortgage your parents' house without telling them.
Yeah, it's This is just free. But Mario, let's finish with you. 6-6-1 for college, 46% on the year for college. Still not great, but not bad last week overall. It's better than your average. So you're moving up. 4-4 NFL. You're exactly 50%.
Yeah, right in the middle.
It's actually not a bad week to go straight 50%.
No, not a bad. That was a great week to do 50. I would have given a leg to go 50% last week. 57% on the season for NFL. Your overall record 58-60 for 49%. So you're almost above 52.
Almost there.
Dude, Mario's
Almost everyone.
climbing 1% every week.
You're the only one not at or above 50%. Once you get there, if all of us are at or above 50, that's a huge accomplishment.
That is a huge.
That means we're not just all completely idiots. We're just sometimes idiots.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
Which is big. That's big.
Yeah, it's big.
The upsets last week, upset of the week. Tate hit Missouri plus 115.
Sharp.
Bang.
Love it.
Tate's on fire.
Fire.
Tate's just on fire for upsets. You're now 4-3 overall on
He's over
upsets,
50%
plus
on
3.5
upsets.
units. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's big. 3.2 units up.
That's massive.
Michael, Texans, plus 100. Even
money.
money. Even
Up a
money
unit.
against
Up
the Saints.
1 unit. Exactly.
No, you're down.
You're down.
You're still down.
No. But from that last week, I got up
Yeah.
1 unit
Well,
to still be down.
Winning a
closer
bet.
to,
Winning a bet means you
Yeah.
obviously went up, but you're
Yeah.
down on the year.
Oh yeah. No,
Down
I'm
the
well
year.
aware.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I'm well.
Even though
aware.
you've hit 3 upsets.
Yeah, but you're down because
you're
your
down.
upsets are all even money.
Yeah.
Ryan lost Cal. That was a
Dude, they keep
weird game.
Every
was a really
I
weird
pick
game.
I pick an upset every week and they're in it till like the end of the third quarter and they just give it away. I'm so close to this plus 400 upset. I'm gonna
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
know.
give it to him.
There are good picks. Yeah.
Speaking of an upset that was not close, I picked Syracuse. They got absolutely donkey stomped.
Did they score a touchdown?
No, they didn't. No.
Only
Yeah,
one field goal.
I've now lost 7 straight upsets.
Oh, okay.
0-7, down 7 units. So
Maybe try like plus 300.
Fade Tyler for.
this week we get it back. This week we get it back. Tune in tomorrow. You'll see my
Dude,
upset.
just bet Tyler's other side and double it.
It's the grossest pick you've ever seen. You're not even going to want to look at it on the screen. We don't have to blur it so you don't even read it, but you're going to want to bet it. And last, Mario lost Memphis. You're now barely above even. You're plus 0.65. You've hit one upset. It was Colorado.
Yeah, no, we're still
Shout out Colorado.
friend of the pod, Shador.
Yeah, Shador.
No, it's electric. But yeah, that was the recap of our picks. Not the week we wanted. It was a tough week across the board, though. Vegas cleaned up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They did.
They absolutely cleaned up. But this week, we are going to be sharp. All our picks are going to be on the Thursday episode, and we'll cover NFL specifically also on Friday. So
Bang.
make sure you tune in for those. But let's go ahead and recap just the action that happened in the NFL and college, starting with college football. My absolute favorite thing about college football is that it never fails to impress us. There's
that's
always
facts.
something crazy that happens. This week, I mean, we got to start with USC.
Yeah.
Is Caleb for Heisman just over? If you didn't see the game, they got absolutely murdered by Notre Dame. Absolutely blown out. They were never in the game. Caleb, 3 picks in the first half.
Loved it.
So, I mean, I just want to open it up. They fall to 18 in the rankings. Is Caleb for Heisman just done?
I may have said something in the preseason about this that they were gonna roll over people in the first half of their schedule and then maybe fall a couple games towards the end of the year. And Notre Dame was the first game to start.
Yeah, they're
Bang.
starting to hit their tough stretch of their schedule.
Bye-bye,
Playing
Trojans.
real teams, yeah.
Yeah, 18 in the rankings says a lot for a one-loss team.
that's bad.
If you have the Heisman favorite or had the Heisman favorite, no longer the Heisman
No
favorite.
chance.
Sorry. We'll talk about the Heisman favorite next.
I was just gonna say,
if you're only a one-loss team with Caleb Williams and you fall to 18 after one loss to a top 15 team, like the rankings knows you're done.
Yeah.
They know you're done.
They got exposed.
I mean, Ryan, you called this like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, I've been all over. This was the big game for me. It was a big bet last week. It was just the fact that like I've been fading USC so hard ever since I bet on them for my mortal.
Yeah.
And it's just been perfect watching them disappoint their entire fan base.
Yeah.
And like this is the year they have the Heisman quarterback. This is Lincoln Riley, everything going for them. And they should have lost Arizona 2 weeks ago. And it was amazing to watch them get absolutely brutalized.
Right
Dude,
before,
you're so
before
right.
kickoff, I texted everybody and I said, "This is the week USC gets exposed." And
You
it
did
was-
say that.
Oh,
Yeah,
fight
I mean,
off.
easy.
yeah, I think I was a fish. I was on USC pretty big last week. I had like a bunch of sides of that game. I think it's time people realize this is a Lincoln Riley problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't a USC problem. This has nothing to do with Caleb Williams. Lincoln Riley will be able to, he's the only coach that could have this much talent. People flocked to USC. Like number one receiver commits, number one quarterback, defensive commits. They had one of their best players on their D line is from Georgia transfer. Like these are like actual players. Something happens when he coaches teams that just they fall apart. Like they cannot play defense. it's crazy too to see the contrast with Oklahoma. We talked about this in weeks past, but like he leaves Oklahoma for a year and a half, and all of a sudden
They're one of the best teams.
they have a top 10 defense and are a top 5 ranked team without Caleb Williams.
I know.
So
Imagine if he stayed.
that's what I'm saying. If he stayed, they're winning the championship.
Well, if he stayed and Lincoln Riley went.
Yes,
Yes.
that's the combo.
Let's get that out
That's
there.
the combo.
Brett Venables is doing a great job.
I think Lincoln Riley is legitimately allergic to playing winning football.
Or defense.
He can only play in the Big 12
very
or
much.
Pac-12. USC moving to the Big 10 next year. People are sleeping on this. I think he gets unbelievably exposed and might get fired in like a couple years. You start playing the defenses, the Michigans, Penn States, even bad teams like Iowa.
Maybe that's why Chip Kelly's kind of sharp. He's like, no, dude, I got to get some defense.
He's made some. I mean, he's way more impressive of a coach than Lincoln Riley's been so far.
Yeah.
I mean, Lincoln Riley's proven nothing to anyone. We could go out there and win the games they won.
Yeah.
Crazy. But talking about the Heisman favorite, like we mentioned, Oregon, Washington, absolute thriller.
What a game.
Mr. Penix.
Michael Penix, 4 touchdowns, including the game-winning drive. Do you see he was freestyling on the sideline, manifesting the winning drive?
Makes it hurt even more.
Yeah, that was terrible.
I guess, we can open this up. Tate and I are the ones who rode Washington hard. Preseason, we said they're going to win the Pac-12.
Michael Penix for Heisman.
Yep. Oh, I was on Drake May, but also had Penix. Do you think they're a playoff team, or do you think they actually end up getting exposed, maybe by Oregon again in the championship game? What do you think, Tate?
I definitely think that could happen, but I actually do think they have a real shot at it because I don't think that, especially with, obviously Brock Bowers being out now.
Oh my God, that's huge.
Which is super sad. I think Washington could for sure compete with teams like Georgia. I mean, obviously Michigan, they have never played a defense like that. That could be scary. But there are those teams up there, but I think they could for sure get in. They could be like a TCU last year, and just kind of
same outcome.
Well, hey, they made it to the championship.
Yeah,
TCU did beat Michigan. That was the one. That's the one thing about
Michigan.
TCU last year. I shit on them all season, but they actually did beat Michigan in a playoff game, which was crazy. Yeah, I know you have some opinions about how the Pac-12 is going to finish out. Is Oregon still your dog to win?
Yeah, I still believe in Oregon. I don't think people realize how hard it is to play in Washington. They played an incredible game.
Yeah.
That
It was a great football game.
That stadium, and not only did they play an incredible game, they should have won the game.
Yeah.
It was they were in complete control of their own destiny. It wasn't anyone, wasn't Washington. They had a chance to win the game.
Yep, with the field goal.
Field goal would have tied.
Not even
That would've
not
tied
the field goal. They had 4th down and 2, I think, on Washington's side. Washington had no timeouts. They get a first down, the game's over.
They went for
They
it
do
instead
my
of
least
punting.
favorite play in all of college football. When a quarterback rolls out to one side and half the field's completely dead, and you have one player to throw to or it's dead.
Yep.
Least favorite play, it was a bad call. Washington took advantage. You give Washington the ball, their
defense stepped up.
Their
big.
defense stepped up.
But I think playing in Washington had a huge factor.
It's not a good idea also putting the ball in Bo Nix's hands.
I think
in a
neutral.
big situation.
You
You warned
great.
me.
We talked about this.
Yeah.
Bo Nix in big spots. He didn't play bad.
He played perfectly fine.
He played good, but it's just something about consistently. This guy just can't
Played
ever
in
get it done. Even when he plays good, his team loses. I don't know.
He had 2 touchdown passes. Penix had 4. I mean, Bo Nix, he played a good game. There is something to be said about playing in the
Washington.
road
That game
against really good
That
teams.
is literally a top 5 hardest stadium.
No,
in
they
college football.
both those teams still have to play Utah, USC, and Oregon State.
Well, and the Pac-12 is now the non-division thing, so they can both.
I think
it's
Oregon
likely
will-
they play each other.
Like I said,
Yeah,
I
it's
still
likely,
think no Pac-12 team makes the championship because I think Oregon's going to win and beat Washington.
It'll
last
be interesting to see if a 1-loss Pac-12, given how many ranked teams they have, is able to get in over.
I think it'll depend on how the other.
It depends. Yeah, it
conferences
totally
play out,
depends.
but yeah.
Colorado, a couple just things before we wrap this up. An all-time choke by Colorado. I just want to go to the
so
Colorado
fun to
fan
watch.
club member over here, Mr. Mario. Not so prime time. I guess.
That was so fun to watch.
Do we retire the Shador? Lost 3 of their last 4 games.
Also, is Travis Hunter exposed?
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot you can say about the Colorado game. Listen, first half, I was like loving life.
I'm rich.
Yeah, I mean, the 11 and a half was looking beautiful.
Was it 29-0?
Yep.
29-0.
29-0.
Wow.
And
That's
then
crazy.
They came out, and I have to blame a little bit on Dion. Can't blame all of it because the players, it just looked like the players just got way too cocky and just weren't trying. Like Shador in the pocket was just like.
Did you see what he did at halftime?
Yeah,
he posted his merch link on his Instagram story.
Instagram
He went
story.
on Instagram at halftime, posted.
No,
Is that a thing? Are you allowed to go on your phone during a game?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Hey, prime time.
There's no reason. why.
They're in the
Are you
locker room.
talking about Dion or Shador?
Shador at halftime.
Oh, that's crazy.
I mean, you can go on your phone whatever you want.
But they
it's
definitely
just-
got too cocky. Like,
But they got too cocky, and I've been seeing clips like Shador and Dion's like office, and they're like goofing around, and Shador's like talking about, oh, I need 10K for this. Like, I think they're just not fully invested about
I love it.
about
ridiculous.
the like what's going on the field, and they're kind of worried more about the media aspect of it and everything. But yeah, they totally got exposed. And there's a few key moments where I thought they could have extended the drive. There was like a 4th and 1 where that was like at midfield, which is like kind of borderline. Maybe you punt. I thought like in that moment, because it was kind of getting like towards like the middle-ish of the fourth quarter. Like if they pick that up, they extend the drive like another few minutes, like they win that game easy. But instead, like they just got way too conservative. The people just like the offense just died, and so
I mean the Stanford wide receiver absolutely cooked Travis Hunter.
Hats off.
Oh yeah,
300
yards,
290 receiving yards,
Yeah, wow.
touchdown. Yeah, he killed him. I do think they end up playing Travis Hunter less on defense. It's really hard, especially if he plays good players, to play every snap. And
Well,
the
you
people
can't.
don't do that for.
well,
a
I think they'll choose whatever they need. If they need him on defense,
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah, if they need him on, if it's a weak pass, defense, then put him on offense. But yeah, I think they'll definitely start doing what you're
got a
saying.
ton
They
of
got
respect.
He
to.
needs to save himself for that as well.
Yeah, and last note, Tate kind of brought this up, but like all the top teams kind of took care of business last week.
Yeah.
If you look at it, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, and Penn State all double-digit
Clean
wins.
slate. Yeah.
But big storyline, like you said, Brock Bowers had ankle surgery this weekend.
out for
Yeah.
the season.
So no, he's
No?
not. They haven't committed him to being out for the season. He could
Out for the
return.
regular season.
He could return at the end of the year for like if
A
there's a
bowl
big
game
game,
or-
yeah, or for like SEC championship playoffs. But there's a lot of people talking like, should he even do
Yeah,
that?
that Should he
even risk it?
Is there a
For
fight?
his career.
He can for sure be a
He's
top
proved
10 pick.
himself,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, he's done. I mean,
Either
he's
Jamar Chase, Jackson Smith, and Jake Maya.
so.
It's not worth the
I
risk.
have been saying Georgia's the best team, and I think it's because, in my opinion, they had the best offensive weapon in the country. Brock Bowers is like, he's proven himself to be just unguardable, insane. Georgia without Brock Bowers,
Who knows?
they are not the best team. In the
I mean,
country.
they were questionably. It was questionable them being number
and they
one
lost
with
their,
him.
by far their
Yeah.
best player.
Without him,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's brutal. So I'm looking at. I mean, we got a huge game this week between two of the top couple teams, Ohio State, Penn State.
Yeah.
We're gonna cover that in Thursday's episode, but. The Ohio State fan, I'm sure, has something to say.
I'm
That's
ready.
the game basically for like the winner of that game should go to number one.
I'm ready to
in my
go.
opinion.
Yeah.
And paved the way for some intense showdowns for the back half of the season. But yeah, I think that was it for college. Anything anyone else want to bring up or move on to NFL? All right, let's get going to NFL. What the actual happened to the undefeated teams this week?
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh my God. 49ers, we already talked about, lose outright to the Browns. The
Bang.
only other undefeated team.
Browns
Philadelphia Eagles.
defense was just on fire.
Yeah, we're
Well,
just
quick note: Browns defense.
They were insane.
number one in the league.
Well, yeah, easily number one.
Yeah.
The best historical
Lasted 50
defense
years.
since 1971.
Yeah.
Third best historical defense through 5 games or 6 games. Like
6 games.
Yeah, third best all
They
time.
give him
I mean, they're
1,000
playing.
yards, just 1,000 yards. That's all they're giving up. That's freaking crazy.
It's
Yeah,
insane.
that's-
And
crazy.
I think Myles Garrett's getting slept on for Defensive Player of the Year. This dude is
He might.
an
Yeah,
animal.
He's really-
He's
No,
in the
he's
run.
literally-
with
He's
it.
an
We'll see
animal.
what TJ Watt.
He's
ends
the
up
second
doing.
best
His
yeah,
stats are
defensive player
crazy. I
every
know
year.
Khalil Mack's having a kind of sneaky
Yeah,
good
no,
season.
actually though, he's like
Khalil
actually
Mack.
the second or third best player ever. He's the most consistent, just
Yeah,
absolute
Yeah,
dog.
it's always like Nick Bosa, TJ Watt, and then Myles Garrett's always like everyone always just consensusly agrees like, oh yeah, he's always like number 2 or 3. But
Yeah.
like, yeah,
How
I don't
crazy
know.
is it that, like, we always talk about this, but when you're drafting players, like, everyone always tries to, like, overdraft quarterbacks, wide receivers, everything. If you look at, like, all the players we say are the best players in the league, they are top couple picks at defensive end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's almost bust proof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
like almost to the point where these guys are
Game-
guaranteed to be all pro players.
No, seriously.
Myles-
Even the ones that are like you could consider a bust, like Jadeveon Clowney, still had very good careers. Like still
yeah.
like
Great career.
Pro Bowl
Pro Bowlers.
level.
They're
Yeah,
Pro Bowlers.
Yeah,
They're
maybe
not all pros,
Maybe
they're Pro
not. Yeah,
Bowlers.
maybe not defensive player of the
Think
year
of the
level.
last
but-
like 4 years when you have Aiden Hutchinson, Micah Parsons, like the Bosas, the Watts. You know
They
what I
just
mean?
make they just make the difference in games that no other players can make.
crazy.
Well, I
For
think
sure.
I forgot the exact number, but there's a stat where a sack is worth like minus 1.9 points per game or for the entire game for that offense. Like sacks actually make like a huge statistical
100%.
difference
Yeah.
on like.
Oh, I believe
Well, I mean,
per
dude,
game.
we literally just saw it last night. It's exactly who you just mentioned. Micah Parsons got that big late sack.
Yeah, they killed drives.
Yeah, they
Literally,
absolutely
yeah.
just murdered all the momentum. Chargers couldn't do anything on the last drive. That was it.
Yeah, Herbert loves getting sacked too. But
Oh,
yeah, and the
that-
Eagles,
yeah,
on
that's
top
very
of
true,
the
very
49ers losing to the Browns, best defense in the league, Eagles dropped their first game to the Jets, of all people. I mean, What happened
Well,
there?
we knew the Jets
feel like-
defense was good.
I feel like the Eagles have been letting us down all year, though.
You've been
Yeah,
saying that. You've been
too.
saying they
That
aren't the
too.
Eagles of
They've
last
been
year.
kind of lackluster. They were 5-0, but you could tell they
Definitely
still haven't
lackluster.
found a rhythm.
It was a
Yeah, their
soft
offense
5-0.
ain't.
I'm not
was a
worried.
solid
I'm
fight.
just like.
I mean, they're still like roster wise, like on paper, still probably like the second best team behind maybe like San Francisco. But you can tell like losing their offensive coordinator, like they just haven't clicked yet.
Yeah.
They just seem off.
One thing I'm not worried about is that the Jets beat the Bills and the Jets almost beat the Chiefs. So like, I'm not worried. It's tough to play in New York like that, but
And a good tough defense.
yeah, I'm not worried. But I definitely think their offense needs to get clicking.
Wait, so
Yeah.
did you see they signed Julio Jones?
Yeah, to the practice squad.
But
Yeah,
like,
we'll see.
what's that gonna do? They have Devonta Smith and AJ Brown.
I mean, it's one of those just sign him to have him type
Yeah.
of things.
Yeah.
I don't
AJ
think-
Brown apparently was the one who kind of voiced his opinion to Nick Sirianni because he played with Julio
in Tennessee.
in Tennessee. Yeah.
That's
So
pretty cool.
No, that makes sense. An offense you mentioned was beat by the Jets. The Bills really struggled with the Giants last week. Like really, really, really struggled with the Giants. We've already seen them
weeks
lose
in a
to the
row.
Jets.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they almost got shut out against Jacksonville. They scored
Yeah.
7 points halfway in the fourth quarter. Are we raising the alarm bell on this Bills team? Is this actual cause for concern, or is this just still early in the season? They're going to get right.
it's the Josh Allen regression. I mean, he's still a top quarterback nonetheless, but I mean, he's just gotten worse slightly every single year.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're just seeing like Stephon Diggs' stats are great, but like you can't just always just rely on one person.
Yeah.
You can see like, I mean, they're getting the run offense a little bit better, but you can tell like they just don't have like their offense is just make or break Josh Allen. If he has a bad night, like they
They're
just
done.
absolutely collapse. And obviously like they've had a few injuries on defense as well, but
Yeah, but don't forget the game that actually mattered against the other best team in their division, which might be the best team in the NFL. They showed up and
I
they
think
showed
Josh
out.
Allen's going to be there when he needs to. Also, I'm pretty sure I could be wrong. He's in first place for MVP voting.
He was
Last
before
night.
I mean,
last
he
week.
always
I didn't
is.
see
It's
it
the
after-
past 3
yeah.
years he has been.
But I mean, you have to be good.
He never finishes.
No
third.
bad quarterbacks are an MVP race.
I never said he was bad.
he
No one
just-
said. I just said he was one of the top.
It's
easily
just
one of the
something
top
I don't
quarterbacks.
doubt the Bills will be there in the end of the year.
Yeah.
But seeing them just not able to get going like over and over again.
What happens when they
But again,
dominate the
you-
Redskins after dominating the Dolphins and they have a couple?
Well, no, the
bad
Dolphins.
games?
the
yeah,
Redskins
Dolphins
and
But the
are great
Redskins
ones.
aren't
the Raiders,
surprised,
yeah.
right? Like
Like,
that's
the
they're
Dolphins-
supposed
no,
they're
no, no,
supposed to
no,
do that.
Yeah,
When
they
the-
killed
when
the Raiders.
When the Dolphins win 37-3 over any team this year. They
scored the lead. They
They won
scored
50 to.
Yeah, but that's what the
70
It's
to
kind of like the Lincoln
20
Riley thing.
Against
You
the
win by
Broncos,
50.
right?
You
Yeah,
score a
what?
bunch on someone when you play a good
But that's
team.
against the Redskins.
They also have the
But you gave up 3
They
points.
scored the most points this year. Like I don't know what.
They have-
What, a 15-point favorite against the Giants?
All right, we'll see.
Didn't even come close to covering
We'll
that.
see. I mean, they
No,
play.
but
Bills,
they did- but they
everyone
barely
ranks,
scored
everyone
15.
ranks the Dolphins over the Bills, and the Bills humiliated them. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Two teams that are on fire that were they were projected to win their divisions preseason, but no one really took them seriously. I think are the Lions and the Jaguars.
I took them serious. I took the Lions.
Well, some people may have
Yeah.
taken, but how seriously, really? Lions are tied for the best record in the NFL. The Jags have now won 3 straight, coming off a blowout win on the Colts where they were barely favored. One, are any of these teams actually legit? Can they make a run? And two, who do you think is the better team here?
When you say make a run,
Like, can they make it out of their conference? Can they make it to the Super Bowl?
Super Bowl.
The Lions are 5-1.
I don't think either team can make it to the Super Bowl, to be honest. And I was the biggest Lions supporter preseason. I see exactly what they are. I think they can maybe win a first round playoff, and that's like their peak.
They're the most overrated team. Probably one of
Lions.
the most overrated teams I've seen. They feel like the Vikings of last year.
Ooh.
They play a good team and they'll get killed.
So, in my opinion, I think they're better than the Vikings last year, but not by much. So it's kind of similar to Ryan's sentiment.
Okay.
I think exactly like I don't know, their offense, something about it doesn't sell me yet. And their defense is young and they have potential, but I just don't see this as the year. Obviously, they're playing great against like some weak teams, but yeah, I mean, against better teams, you see them like play a lot closer. So I don't know. We'll see.
I'm of the opinion. I think the Jags and the Lions actually can both make it out of their conferences. That's why I brought it up. I don't think. I mean, San Francisco, juggernaut. I think they are the clear odds-on favorite. But if I'm looking at every other team in the NFC right now, the Cowboys, you guys know how I feel. They definitely haven't sold me. The Eagles, like you said, a step down. They're definitely more of a favorite than the Lions.
Yeah.
But I think if the 49ers play or get an unfavorable matchup early in the playoffs, I think if they make it to the NFC Championship, they'll win. But if they lose that first game, I think it opens it up for the Lions to kind of just slip in there. And I've been saying since preseason, I think the Jags can easily make it out of the AFC. That defense, especially, I don't know.
Yeah, the defense, I'll give my
offense just
flowers
hasn't
to. Their
clicked either,
offense,
yeah.
take Etienne has literally carried that team. Like,
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh, he's top 5 in rushing, touchdowns,
I don't think
yards.
you'll be able to do that against that deep. But I mean, their defense is.
That's kind of the reason, and we're gonna keep moving after this. But I just want to say that that's kind of the reason I like the Jags so much. I mentioned this last week. Was in the year before, it was all on Trevor and the offense. Like when they started going, it was because his stats just went ridiculous.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, since week 9 or whatever, he's like best quarterback in the league. That was the stat thing. This year, that's not the case. But if they have a defense and a run game, I'm confident when the time comes that he will pick it up. That's kind of one thing. Like as to where last year, I'm like, whoa, I don't think the defense and run game can pick it up. They're just leaving Trevor out to dry. It's the opposite this year. I think the Jags sleeper team to actually make it out over the Chiefs, over the.
I think I kind of agree with you too. I think in a big spot, Trevor shows up.
Yeah.
Like I would trust Trevor more than Josh Allen in a big spot.
Ooh, I would too. I'm sure some people on this panel wouldn't. And a couple last team
I
I want
to make this go quicker.
Last team I want to talk about are the Texans legit.
Yeah, 100%.
100% legit.
Stroud is.
Yeah,
What do you
CJ
mean by
Stroud.
legit?
CJ Stroud is.
Can they win their division? And they're in the division with the Jags. I know some people here believe that. That's why I want to bring it up.
I was going to talk about this as like a bet to make.
I think they're a wild card team. So
I'm going to
legit.
I'm going to bet them to win the division.
Ooh.
I think I'm going to get pretty good juice on it. I'll probably get I think anywhere in the +2, like 50s.
You'd bet it at +250?
Yeah, I really think just watching them play the Jags, having that big win, I think will help during the end of the year. And dude, Stroud just doesn't make mistakes, and that team is young and good. Like, if you don't make mistakes as a quarterback, you're not going to lose. And AFC South as a whole doesn't have that hard of games late in the year. They've played the AFC North, but
Texans are +320.
yeah, I'll be betting that. I just think that, dude, CJ Stroud's very good at football, and that team can go.
How electric is it that his first turnover, his first interception wasn't actually a turnover?
Yeah, they got the ball
He
back.
threw a pick, and then the Saints fumbled it, and they got
my
the ball.
God.
So he
No, you
actually
don't need
advanced it.
something, yeah.
His first pick was a first down.
Wow,
was
that's
so
wild.
sad.
That's,
I didn't want to
that's
throw it.
wild.
The guy's shitting gold. I mean, he can't do no wrong. Texans, watch out for the Texans. That division, a couple sleepers. And last thing I wanted to say, just the injuries have been brutal this year. It's so sad. Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, David Montgomery, Justin Fields, Deshaun Watson, Anthony Richardson, Trevor Lawrence now. We're going to get to Trevor's injury in a second. We talk about the Thursday pick, but I don't know. Just it's sad to see all these guys continue to go down. Justin Jefferson's an IR. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's terrible. I hate it.
it's never fun when you see big stars get out. Obviously, like early in the season too, Nick Chubb out for the season. Like it sucks when like the really, really good players, like offensive players that you tune in to watch, like when they're not playing.
Juggernauts.
Yeah, it's brutal when they're not
Yeah,
there.
sucks.
But yeah, all right. That was the recap. A lot happened.
Crazy.
That was
Yeah.
a lot to
Yeah.
recap. I cannot wait to make our picks for this coming week. This Thursday and Friday episodes are going to be electric.
Oh, yeah.
But we have one pick we get to make this week.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Thursday night football game. Let's talk some football. Thursday night football action is here. This is the only pick we can make on Wednesdays. For all the other picks, you'll have to tune into the college football and NFL shows on Thursday and Friday, respectively. But Thursday night game, Jags at Saints, New Orleans -1, the over-under set at 40. We will start it off with our resident Saints fan, Mario. How do you feel about this home
Bang.
game in a big spot?
Not
Tell
good.
me.
Not good.
Oh, why is it not good?
Wait, that's
Dude, it's just I want like our team has so much potential, but our offensive play calling is incompetent. Like it drives me insane. Like Chris Olave will run like a 6-yard, 8-yard slant, like wide open. Derek Carr hits him easy. 2nd and 2, we have Alvin Kamara in the backfield, or we can like
Deep ball to Rashid.
or no. Instead, let's do a 60-yard bomb to Rashid Shaheed.
Switch drop.
He catches one every 3 weeks.
I mean, and it's always electric every 3 weeks.
And and then that'll be incomplete. And then instead of like, okay, maybe trying to pick up the first down, no, let's double down and go in another deep ball
Michael Thomas a free 7 yards.
to like
Nope.
Chris Olave deep, and Derek Carr throws it out of bounds. It's not even catchable. Like it's just I can't
He
take
throws a lot of his balls out of bounds.
a lot in the
yeah.
dirt out of bounds. Like, it doesn't make sense. I don't like I watch. Like I'll watch a drive where we like drive down easy, score, and I'm like, this is how our offense should just be.
Yeah.
And then, but like,
But-
it's kind of like when the Lions watch Jahmyr Gibbs run for 14 yards, and they go, yeah, let's take him off the
Get
field.
that son
Yeah,
of a bitch.
Get him off the field. We
He's
don't
way
like
too good.
Yeah, and then instead of like having Alvin Kamara pick up a 2-yard run, it's like, no, let's do a sweep to Kendre Miller for -5. Like it just, I don't understand.
Gotta keep it fair.
The
So,
Jags,
trying
the
to guess your
Jags
pick.
defense is gonna give Derek Carr fits. I think it's gonna be kind of like a grind out game. I think Jags win.
Jags. So you got Jags money line plus the
Grind.
1 and the money line.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to say like a line because I hate betting against my team, but
But you think the Jags are going
But
to
the
win?
Jags plus 1.
No, the Jags are gonna win the game.
Okay.
No, I love that.
No, I like that.
I'm
Trevor
over that.
Lawrence, questionable to play day to day. So they said maybe game time decision type thing. He hurt his ankle last week. Mike,
He's
does
playing.
that
God's
does
gonna
that
tell him to
alter
play.
your decision for the game?
Oh, I mean, I had known that going into this, but I can't believe I feel like a bigger Saints fan than Mario right now.
Ooh.
I hope they
am-
win. I mean, I'm praying.
He's a bigger Saints
Life
fan.
edge.
No, well, I'm just saying,
Life hedge.
I'm taking the Saints -1. Last week, they had two turnovers, 1 interception, 1 fumble, and they had 7 penalties for 83 yards.
Wow.
I mean, I just think they're going to be able to clean their game up
Tighten
at
up.
least a little bit.
Tighten
That's
up.
absolutely
That's true.
ridiculous. Their defense is on fire. They held CJ Stroud, who we were just talking to under 200 yards, less than 50% completion rate.
Yeah. No, we should have won the game.
Obviously flying
If
around.
you look at those stats, but we're terrible on offense, dude. Don't listen to me. Keep going.
No, again,
Mario's
just gonna
vent
rant-
over
yeah,
there.
just
he's
talking to
gonna just
myself.
vent.
with all that being said, I am taking the Saints -1 for that reason, but way more, I'm taking the under of 40.
Yeah.
I think defenses
Saints
are
in a
just going to be
stride.
absolute flying on the Saints, and
Both
I
these
don't think,
defenses.
yeah.
Both these defenses are doing well. Both these offenses have been pretty stagnant. I mean, the Jags, they put up points against the Colts, but I don't put any stock in that whatsoever. They just blew them out. It wasn't a game.
Same.
If Trevor plays, and I know we can't give conditional picks, so my pick is the Jags +1.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's worth it to see. I think he's probably going to play. The line started at -3. We've seen it move 2 full points in the last day, which hints that Vegas probably thinking Trevor's going to play. It might come to a pick 'em at game time. Regardless, I think this Jaguars team would be good enough, even with a backup, to keep it a close game. They've just run the ball a lot all season. Their defense is good. The Saints make mistakes. And if
Travis is playing well.
he's top 5 rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. So
Yeah.
Give me the Jags here. I bet the Jags every week, but I'm going to keep riding it. They've been honestly the only thing working. Only NFL bet I hit last week.
Do you have a total bet?
Do you have what?
Do you have a total bet over under?
I lean under, but I'm not going to touch the under. I mean, I think if Trevor plays, this could go over pretty easy. But
Okay.
the under's the
Derek
sharp
Carr
number.
can just he has those games where he just decides he
Yeah.
wants to play football.
And we've seen the Jags give up big numbers to the Texans, for example. So I feel much more confident in Jags than I do the total.
Yeah, I'll take this at -1, 2, 3. I don't care what it is. I'm taking the Saints here.
Dang.
I just think that this is a big game for them. I think they have an easy stretch for their division. I think the Bucks have a tough schedule coming up. I think the Saints can really get going, and they should take this division. And this is a big game for them to do so at home. A big loss away last week, coming back. I think their defense is strapped, and the one thing about their defense that has held for the past 5 years is their rushing defense has always been stout, and it's continual to be. And I think that's what's going to kill Jaguars. I just think Etienne's not going to have. He's going to have 55 rushing yards, and it's going to be held to Lawrence to do the job. I just don't think he'll do it.
or CJ Beathard.
Yeah, I think the final score is going to be 21-13. I don't think it's going to be high scoring, but I think Saints defense will just strap this week. So I like Saints -1. I like the under.
So we're split 2-2. Tate, you're the tiebreaker.
Yeah, I don't think I could agree more, especially with Trevor being day-to-day. I definitely don't want to have to rely on, Trevor playing, and let alone the fact that even if he does play, he's going to be still beat up because he's coming off. He does have a lingering injury. I hate that. I know what it's like. It's the worst to have injuries anyway. I did like the Saints, in their defense too. And obviously they can get going. I mean, they look awful on offense. Their defense is strapped. So if they're any better, I think a hurt Trevor Lawrence or the backup for Jacksonville, I think the Saints will take care of business.
Gotcha. So we're leaning the Saints, but no consensus here on Thursday.
Yep.
That was it for the recap,
Love it.
gentlemen. The Wednesday roundup. We covered everything, college football, NFL, your Thursday night picks. If you want to see all of the picks for the entire week, go ahead, tune in Thursday. College football episode will give you the Mortal Parlay and all our cards for college. NFL on Fridays. This will be the schedule going forward into the indefinite future. Last week it went unbelievably well. Thank you for everyone for the support. Go ahead,
Let's go, baby.
drop
Thank
a
you.
like, drop a comment. Let us know
Turn
what you
the
think
bells on.
the recap, and we'll see you tomorrow for college football.
Bang.